Hello again, Year 5. Welcome to our Land of Stories reading session, okay? Yesterday should I say, we learnt about the different kingdoms that are in the Land of Stories book. And at the front of the book, I found this image. So before it told you where all of the places were, and I thought it's a little bit complicated, I thought it was easier to show you this. So you can see all of the different places. Hopefully it's not the wrong way around, apologies if it is, but you can see all of the different places in the Land of Stories. So I believe that's where Alex and Connor are at the moment. They're in the dwarf forests. So I just got up to the part where I was describing some of the places, so I'll read that again for you, and hopefully today we'll finish chapter 5. Okay, remember, if you have any issues as well on Google Classroom, please just comment on the piece of work or put in the stream and tell me what you're having troubles with. If you're having trouble logging on or anything like that, ask your parent to email me with the email that they have and let me know, and I'll try and sort it out the best I can, okay? So anything that you aren't too sure of, or maybe you need some more help, it might be that there's quite a few of you that actually need a bit more help, so I'll make a YouTube video on how to do maybe some maths work or English work. Please just let me know and I will do my best to sort it for you, okay? But we're going to carry on with chapter 5, okay? I'm really excited. I've been looking forward to reading this book all over Easter, so I'm hoping as well all of you are so excited to finish it. I can't wait to find out what happens. So, here we go. The tiny corner kingdom was tucked away in the southwest corner of the continent, and in the northwest corner was the elf empire. In between the charming kingdom and the sleeping kingdom was the fairy kingdom, and just above that was the troll and goblin territory. The fairy kingdom looked beautiful, as it was very colourful and seemed to sparkle on the map. The troll and goblin territory looked frightening and appeared to be surrounded by large boulders and rocks, preventing anything from going in or coming out. In the very centre of it all was the Red Riding Hood kingdom, circled by an unmistakable brick wall of gigantic proportions. Now, if I flick back, you can see that big circle there. So that's right in the middle. So they're next to that kingdom, so maybe they'll go off over there. We'll find out, I guess, what's going to happen. Think about maybe what do you think is going to happen next? Where are they going to go? Are they going to stay in the same place? They're going to go to a different kingdom? I mean, they are in the dangerous part of the place, so maybe they'll move. We'll see what happens. So, in the very centre of it all was the Red Riding Hood kingdom, circled by an unmistakable brick wall of gigantic proportions. Alex and Connor couldn't believe it. The world they had grown up in hearing about was real. It was all real, and it was bigger and better than they could have ever imagined. Alex couldn't help but get emotional. Tears began to flood her eyes. Now again, why would we think that she's getting upset? Why might she start to get really emotional about that? So have a think. Maybe you can comment down below or on the Google Classroom. I'll remind you of that question at the end. I want you to tell me why she's getting a little bit upset, okay? Together, all the kingdoms create the Happily Ever After Assembly, Froggy explained. The Happily Ever After Assembly? Connor asked, with a slight touch of sarcasm in his voice. It's the organisation formed to uphold the treaty all the rulers signed, so that all the kingdoms could live in peace and prosperity, Froggy told them. Sounds like our United Nations, Alex whispered to Connor. All the kingdoms had their own traditions and celebrated histories, Froggy went on. And there are kings and queens, I'm assuming, Connor asked. Oh yes, Froggy said. The Northern Kingdom is ruled by Queen Snow White. The Corner Kingdom is watched over by Queen Rapunzel. The Sleeping Kingdom, formerly known as the Eastern Kingdom, but renamed after the dreadful curse under which it was placed, is governed by Queen Sleeping Beauty. And, of course, the Charming Kingdom is ruled by King Charming and his wife Queen Cinderella. Wait, are these the current monarchs? Alex asked, with a spark of excitement in her eyes. You mean Cinderella, Snow White, Sleeping Beauty? They're all still alive? Of course they are, Froggy said. Oh my goodness, that's wonderful, Alex said excitedly. Isn't that wonderful, Connor? Whatever, Connor mumbled. How old do you think they are? Froggy asked. Queen Snow White and King Charming have only been married a few years. Queen Cinderella and King Charming are expecting their first child soon. Queen Sleeping Beauty and King Charming are sadly still trying to restore their kingdom to consciousness after that horrible sleeping spell it was placed under. Wait, Connor said. Are you saying all these queens are married to the same guy? Certainly not, Froggy said. There are three King Charmings. They're brothers. Of course, Alex said. Snow White, Cinderella and Sleeping Beauty all married Prince Charming. There's more than one. How come I never thought of that? Connor's eyes were fixated on the map. He kept searching for some kind of road or bridge that could lead them back home, but he found nothing. Why are there a bunch of rocks around the troll and goblin territory? Connor asked. As punishment, Froggy said. Trolls and goblins are nasty creatures and have a habit of kidnapping people and turning them into slaves. The Fairy Council forced the trolls and goblins into one territory, and none of them are allowed to leave without permission. Fairy Council? Alex asked. This world was almost too good to be true. Yes, they're a group of the most powerful fairies of the kingdoms, Froggy explained. Cinderella's fairy godmother is one of them, and so is Mother Goose, and all the fairies that blessed Sleeping Beauty when she was a baby are on it too. They rule the fairy kingdom and are the leaders of the Happily Ever After assembly. Is the Red Riding Hood kingdom under some sort of punishment too? Connor asked. Why is there a huge wall built around it? Alex looked down at the map and back up at Froggy, equally curious. That was a result of the Cruel Revolution. C.R.A.W.L. Froggy said. What was the Cruel Revolution? Asked Alex. The citizen riots against wolf liberty, Froggy explained. The Red Riding Hood Kingdom used to be a group of villages in the Northern Kingdom that were constantly under attack by wolves. They begged the evil queen, Snow White's stepmother, who was on the throne at the time, to help them. But the evil queen was too occupied with her vanity, so they revolted and started their own kingdom. They built a huge wall around it so no wolves could get in. And now Red Riding Hood is the queen? Asked Alex. Yes, she's the only one elected queen in history, Froggy said. The villagers figured her story was the most symbolic of their struggle, so they chose her to lead them. But isn't she just a little girl? Alex asked. No, she's a young woman now. A very self-obsessed young woman, from what I hear. After all, she named the kingdom after herself. Her grandmother does most of the decision-making, while she takes all the credit, Froggy said. Unfortunately, the Cruel Revolution only led to the rise of the Big Bad Wolf Pack. The Big Bad Wolf Pack? Connor asked. Yes, they're the descendants of the original Big Bad Wolf. They travel around terrorising villages and attacking unsuspecting travellers, Froggy said. Oh joy, Connor said sarcastically. I'm sorry I asked. But besides that, things are very peaceful throughout the kingdoms, Froggy said. His voice drifted off and uncertainty grew on his face. That wasn't until a week ago. The twins leaned forward. Well, what happened a week ago? Alex asked. The evil queen escaped from the dungeons of Snow White's palace, Froggy told them. I thought everyone had heard. It's news to us, Connor said. That can't be good, Alex said. How did she escape? No one knows, Froggy said. She just vanished along with her magic mirror. Snow White's army has been searching throughout all of the kingdoms for her, but as they passed through these woods at least twice a day, they found nothing, not even a footprint to lead them in their direction. Do you think they're going to find her? Connor asked. Well, I hope so, Froggy said. She's a very dangerous woman. She's the only queen in history to lose her throne. I couldn't imagine the revenge she must be seeking. Who knows what she's got planned next? Alex suddenly became very tense. It had just occurred to her, along with all the characters she had grown up loving, all the ones she'd hated and feared, actually existed too. It made her feel very uneasy and very unsafe. The fire in the fireplace began to fade, and Froggy got up to add another log. The twins' eyes and mouths were wide open, and their heads were spinning from all of this new information. Exactly how far do you live from here? Froggy asked, as he sat back down across from them. The twins looked to each other, back at Froggy, and then back at each other. They didn't know what to tell him. Would he believe them if he told them the truth? It's practically a different world, Connor said. Alex shot him a dirty look and then nervously laughed, trying to make light of what her brother had just said. Froggy wasn't laughing. He sat straight up in his seat, and his face grew very still with an intensity in his eyes, as if he had found the solution to a mystery. Interesting, Froggy said, eyeing the twins back and forth. Because if I didn't know any better, just from the way you dress and the way you speak, and the way you were so surprised at the basic history, I would say that there is a very good chance you are indeed from a different world. They didn't understand what he was trying to say. Did he know something that they didn't? Just out of curiosity, have you ever heard of another world? Alex asked him. Or preferably how to get back to it, Connor added. Froggy studied their faces even more intently for a moment. He got up again and went to a bookshelf on the far side of the room. He rustled through the books, looking for something of special interest. Finally, he found it. A small leather-bound journal with a red band around it. Have either of you heard of the wishing spell? Froggy asked the twins. Alex and Connor shook their heads. Froggy flipped through the pages of the journal. I assumed not, he said. It's a legendary spell comprised of a list of items and apparently... Sorry, I just had to do something. I assumed not, he said. It's a legendary spell comprised of a list of items. And apparently, when you put the items together, you are granted one wish. It doesn't matter how extravagant the wish is, the wishing spell will grant it. Many people believe that it's only a myth, and I did too, until I found this journal. What does that journal have to do with anything? Connor asked. It was written by a man from the Charming Kingdom, Froggy said. He managed to discover what these items were, and he recorded his journey to find them. His one wish was to reunite with the woman that he loved, and in the journal he claimed she lived in another world. Alex and Connor sat straight up. They were sitting on the edges of their seats without realising it. I thought the man writing in the journal was crazy. I didn't believe another world could exist, until I began finding your books, Alex. And then, when I saw you bickering in the forest, I knew you two were different, Froggy said. I knew you had to be from the place that the man had written about. The twins were happy the truth was out. Froggy seemed genuinely excited about the whole thing. Did he make it? Alex asked. Did the man cross over into the other world? He must have, Froggy said. The journal ends when he found the last item. Froggy handed the twins the journal and took a seat in his chair. Wherever you're from, if it's home that you wish to go back to, I think your best chance is by following this journal. The twins went silent for a moment. They stared down at the journal in his hands with immense hope. What items does the spell require? Alex asked. All sorts, from all over, Froggy told her. But the journal gives great instructions on where and how to find them. Some of them are very dangerous to get, though. Of course they are, Connor said. Typical. If the spell will grant whatever wish you want, why didn't you search the items and wish to be human again? Alex asked Froggy. Froggy thought about this for a moment. It was a question he had asked himself many times, and he was ashamed of the answer. I've kept the journal all these years in case I ever decided to, Froggy explained with difficulty. But searching for the items would mean I'd have to come face to face with the world looking like this, and frankly, children, that's something I'm not ready to do. It's something I don't ever think I'll be able to do. He spoke from a place of deep sadness. Clearly, he wasn't finished learning the witch's lesson yet. It's getting late, Froggy said. Why don't you sleep on it and decide what you want to do in the morning? You're welcome to stay here as long as you'd like. Thank you, Alex said. I hope we aren't a bother. No bother at all, Froggy smiled earnestly. Froggy got them a blanket to share. He blew out all the lamps and put out the fire in the fireplace. Alex and Connor tossed and turned with thoughts of the wishing spell all night. But there was no decision to make. If the journal offered a possible way home, they would have to do anything and everything it instructed them to. They had no choice. They were about to embark on the greatest scavenger hunt of their lives. And that is chapter 5 finished. So chapter 6 is called The Dwarf Forests. So we will carry on with that tomorrow. Now, if you can remember my question that I asked you, it was, why was Alex getting so upset when she found out about that the world was real? So it said Alex couldn't help but get emotional. Tears began to flood her eyes. So I want you to tell me, why do you think she'd gotten so emotional there? Okay, and we'll carry on with chapter 6 tomorrow, and I'll see you then. Okay, bye.